whenever we see a squamous cell carcinoma in a parotid gland, it is important to rule out metastasis of squamous cell carcinoma from the skull. Hence, a thorough examination of the skull and head and neck region, especially the nasopharynx as well, is required to rule out the primary from there. So the WHO has classified all these histological tumors into two categories. One is low risk and high risk. So low risk does not require or does not mandate a adjuvant treatment, and high risk mandates an adjuvant treatment after surgery in the form of radiation. So low risk, you can remember either the low risk or the high risk. If you try to remember both, you will get confused. So low risk is actinic cell carcinoma, low grade mucoepidermal carcinoma, epithelial myoepithelial carcinoma, polymorphous low grade adenocarcinoma, clear cell carcinoma, basal cell adenocarcinoma, low grade salivary duct carcinoma, myoepithelial carcinoma, oncocytic carcinoma, carcinoma ex pleomorphic adenoma without any capsular invasion, cyeloblastoma and carcinoma, adenocarcinoma not otherwise satisfied. Anything other than this will be put into the high risk category. So what are they? Sebaceous carcinoma, high grade mucoepidermal carcinoma, adenocystic carcinoma, mucinous adenocarcinoma, squamous cell, small cell, large cell carcinoma, lymphoepithelial carcinoma, metastasis in pleomorphic adenoma, carcinoma ex pleomorphic adenoma, which is invasive capsular invasion is there, carcinosarcoma and adenocarcinoma, high grade not otherwise specified. Coming to tumors of the salivary glands which have perineural extension, most commonly seen with adenoid cystic, followed by mucoepidermal and then by acinic. AMA in that category, in that order. Sorry. One important thing to note is AJCC 8th edition. AJCC 8th edition staging is for only the major salivary glands. So minor salivary glands, if any tumor originates there, from there, how do we classify that? It is classified as from the primary site of origin as per the squamous cell carcinoma. For example, if I have a malignant minor salivary gland tumor on the buccal mucosa measuring around 2 into 3 centimeter. So how to stage it? I should use the staging of the oral cavity itself, for that is squamous cell carcinoma of the oral cavity. So 2 into 3 centimeters will be staged as T2. Okay, T2 oral cavity. T2 again, oral cavity has 7 subsets. So any of those subsets can be that is buccal mucosa is a subset. So T2 buccal mucosa will be the staging for that tumor. So what is the staging for major salivary glands? T0 is no evidence of primary tumor. TIS is tumor in situ, that is basement membrane is intact. Then T1 is tumor 2 centimeters or smaller in greatest dimension without extraparenchymal extension. T2 is 2 centimeters but not more than 4 centimeters without extraparenchymal extension. T3 is more than 4 centimeters or having extraparenchymal extension. T4A is moderately or very much advanced. So moderately advanced, it involves the surrounding structures. What are the surrounding structures? Skin laterally, mandible posteriorly, ear canal or facial nerve. So if a patient with parotid gland tumor presents with facial nerve palsy, he will be directly staged as T4A. Very advanced stage, it goes further medially, further posteriorly, that is skull base, carotid plates and carotid artery. So T4B is very advanced. End staging is the same. End staging remains the same. N1 is single ipsilateral node 3 centimeters in greatest dimension. N2A, B, C. N2A is 3 to 6 centimeters, but not more than 6 centimeters. Single ipsilateral node. N2B multiple ipsilateral nodes, none more than 6 centimeters. N2C is contralateral or bilateral nodes. N3 is either N3A greater than 6 centimeters or N3B, which is extranodal extension. So what is extranodal extension? The tumor goes into the lymph node, infiltrates the lymph node completely, goes into the capsule of the lymph node, that is perilymphadenitis, and then extends beyond the capsule and gets stuck or infiltrates the surrounding structures. So in the surrounding structures may be the skin, the muscle, the internal jugular vein, or the fascia. So if it gets fixed to these structures clinically, then it is known as extranodal extension. So what are the investigations we use to confirm the diagnosis? One is we need histological proof. For histological proof, we can do a fine needle aspiration cytology or a core needle biopsy or through-cut biopsy. And to know the extent of the disease, we require ultrasonography, MRI, CT scan,